So the Lake Hope project is located here in Western Australia. It's about 500 kilometres east of Perth, and it's a couple of salt pans. They're dry salt lakes. And in the top 2 metres of that lake are a set of minerals that can be converted into high purity alumina in a relatively straightforward process. And our plan is to actually dig up that material and truck it to Perth and process it here. So for those that don't know, high purity alumina is actually on the Australian critical minerals list, and that has opened up all sorts of avenues of funding, and we've recently got a federal government grant. And so we believe that we're becoming an integral part of the supply chain for the uses of HPA globally, predominantly in the LED market, battery separators and things like that. A transformational project, we believe, for impact. We're coming towards the end of our pre-feasibility study. That'll be done in the first quarter of next year, and that will set us up, we hope, for a big year in 2025 and getting into some sort of production over the following couple of years. So a pilot plant is designed to do a couple of things. So first of all, it's to test the process that you've got. Now, as I mentioned, the unique minerals that we have at Lake Hope allow us to have a relatively straightforward chemistry. But when you're producing a high purity mineral, whether it's alumina, manganese, graphite, there's always a lot of work to be done at the back end of the process to ensure that you get to the relevant purity. And a benchmark that we use in the HPA space is 4N or 4.9, so that's 99.99% pure. And whilst we've done that in the laboratory numerous times, it's always the next step then is to take it up to the next scale. So the pilot plant's the next scale, and you might be able to produce something like 1 tonne per week or something like that from that pilot plant. Now that's also crucial, as well as testing the process. It's also at that point that we've discovered that the customers will really start to take you seriously. So once that pilot plant is up and running, hopefully by the middle of next year, that'll be the time that we'll really start our outreach to potential offtake partners, end-use customers, show them that we're a serious player in the space, and look towards getting agreements for sales as we go forward. So the federal government grant that we've just been awarded, $2.9 million, it's a three-way collaboration between ourselves, CPC Engineering, who've been doing all the design work on the large plant that's being used as the pre-feasibility study, but they'll also be heavily involved now in the design of the pilot plant. In conjunction with Edith Cowan University, Professor Amir Ramazou there, he has some world-leading technology in membrane selective technology or membrane extraction. So what these are, they're basically pieces of plastic string that can absorb ions. And so we intend to use those at numerous places in our process to enable reduction in reagent use, so we can clean up our reagents and reuse them. We can use them in the wastewater streams to clean up that wastewater to make sure we meet thresholds for any discharge that might be there, although we are trying to get this project to be zero liquid discharge and recycle everything that we use. So that's a huge cutting-edge technology, and it's been recognised and validated by this federal government grant. The project will kick off later this month, and look forward to get the first funding through the door in December or January. And so next year, it'll be full-on developing the pilot plant. That'll be the key focus for us. So the pre-feasibility study will be completed in the next quarter. We're hoping to have it this quarter, but we've been waiting on lots of quotes from consultants and contractors, and it's clear that the mining industry is still booming because we're finding that difficult to get those numbers. So all the results we've had so far are all fine. There's no drama with it, but by completing the pre-feasibility study, we actually trigger the acquisition of 80% of the project. People should be aware that it's an option at the moment, but once we complete the pre-feasibility study, we'll have 3 months then to decide to proceed to the next stage, which is basically in the definitive feasibility study. Now, the key thing about the research grant and the pilot plant is that by the time that work is done over the next year and a half or 2 years, we'll have all of the information that we require to complete the DFS and then make the financial investment decision, FID, and get going into larger scale production as planned, as we've previously stated, in sort of late 26, 27.